Discovery and First Contact. The stellar pathfinder drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight as it approached the outer edges of the Andromeda galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the mysterious planet below. After 15 years of deep space exploration, they had finally found something unprecedented. "Captain, the preliminary scans are complete," Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "The energy signature we detected. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. It's not natural, but it's not matching any known technological patterns either." Sarah nodded, her expression thoughtful. The Pathfinder had been tracking these unusual energy patterns for months, following a trail of breadcrumbs across the galaxy that had led them here, to this uncharted world orbiting a dying star. "What about the atmospheric readings?" "Breathable, surprisingly," Marcus replied. "Gravity is 1.1 times Earth standard. Temperature averages around 15 degrees Celsius. It's almost too perfect." Dr. Aisha Patel, the ship's xenorchaeologist, approached with a tablet in hand. Her usual calm demeanor was replaced with barely contained excitement. "Captain, the surface scans are showing structures, artificial structures. And they're massive. We're talking about engineering on a scale that dwarfs anything humanity has ever built." Sarah turned away from the window, studying the detailed holographic projection that materialized in the center of the bridge. The structures were indeed enormous, geometric shapes that seemed to defy conventional architectural principles, stretching kilometers into the sky. But what caught her attention was their condition. They appeared pristine, untouched by time. "How old are they?" she asked, already suspecting the answer would challenge everything they thought they knew about galactic civilization. Aisha shook her head. "That's the thing. Our initial dating puts them at over 1 million years old, but they show no signs of degradation. It's as if they were built yesterday." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent centuries believing they were alone in the universe, or at least that they were among the first intelligent species to achieve interstellar travel. This discovery changed everything. "Prepare an expedition team," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "I want us ready to make landfall in 2 hours. Dr. Patel, you'll lead the scientific analysis. Lieutenant Rodriguez, coordinate security protocols." As the crew dispersed to their stations, Sarah felt a familiar tingle at the base of her skull, the neural implant that connected her to the ship's AI. Araya, establishing contact. "Captain," Araya's voice echoed in her mind, "I'm detecting unusual patterns in the energy signature. They appear to be evolving." Sarah frowned. "Evolving? How?" "The patterns are becoming more complex, more organized. It's as if the source is responding to our presence." Before Sarah could respond, a blinding light filled the bridge. Every screen, every holographic display, every piece of equipment capable of producing light began to pulse in perfect synchronization. Then, as suddenly as it began, the light coalesced into a single point in the center of the bridge, forming what appeared to be a doorway made of pure energy. The crew stood frozen, weapons drawn, as a figure stepped through the portal. It was humanoid in shape, but its form seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. When it spoke, its voice resonated not through the air, but directly in their minds. "Children of Earth," the being said, "you have arrived earlier than expected. The precursor's calculations suggested your species would require another millennium of development before discovering this place." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice remaining steady. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Stellar Pathfinder." "Who? What are you?" The being's form shimmed, briefly taking on a more human-like appearance before returning to its fluid state. "I am the Guardian, an artificial consciousness created by those you would call the precursors. I was left here to wait for species capable of reaching this place, to judge their worthiness, and to warn them of what comes next." "Warn us?" Marcus asked, his hand still hovering near his weapon. Warn us about what? The Guardian's form darkened, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. The great filter approaches. Your species stands at a crossroads, as all species do when they reach this level of development. The choices you make in the coming days will determine not only humanity's fate, but the fate of countless civilizations across multiple galaxies. Aisha stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. The great filter. You mean the theoretical evolutionary barrier that explains why we haven't encountered other advanced civilizations. The filter is no theory, the Guardian replied. It is a fundamental force of the universe, a cosmic test that every technological civilization must face. The precursors created this installation, and others like it throughout the galaxy, to help worthy species survive what comes next. But not all who reach this place are deemed worthy. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. And how exactly are we judged? The Guardian's form began to pulse with inner light. Through trial, through sacrifice, through proving that your species has evolved beyond its primitive instincts for destruction and conquest. The precursors believed that only species capable of true cooperation, innovation, and selflessness could survive the filter. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Marcus rushed to his station, his face paling as he read the incoming data. Captain, we're detecting multiple objects entering the system at FTL speeds. They're massive, bigger than anything we've ever encountered. The Guardian's voice took on an urgent tone. They have arrived sooner than anticipated. The harbingers of the filter come to test humanity's worth. How you face this trial will determine everything. Through the observation window, Sarah watched as massive shapes emerged from hyperspace. Dark, angular vessels that seemed to absorb the very light around them. They moved with impossible grace for their size, quickly forming a blockade around the planet. What are they? Sarah demanded, turning back to the Guardian. What do they want? They are the instruments of the filter, the great culling force that ensures only the most worthy civilizations survive to join the galactic community. They will test your species through conflict, through crisis, through impossible choices. How humanity responds will prove whether you deserve to exist in this universe. As if in response to the Guardian's words, every communication system on the ship suddenly activated, broadcasting a message that chilled Sarah to her core. Humanity has been judged. Your trial begins now. Prove your worth or face extinction. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. Whatever these trials were, humanity would face them head-on. They had not come this far, survived so much, to fail now. Guardian, she said, her voice firm, we accept your challenge. Humanity will prove its worth. The being's form brightened momentarily. Then let the trials begin. Remember, Captain Chen, the choices you make here will echo across the cosmos. The fate of humanity rests in your hands. As the massive alien vessels moved to surround the stellar Pathfinder, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin, and failure meant not just their own extinction, but perhaps the end of hope for countless other civilizations yet to come. The true question was, were they ready for what came next? The hidden archive. The Harbinger vessels loomed over the stellar Pathfinder like ancient monoliths, their dark surfaces absorbing all light that touched them. Captain Chen had ordered her crew to maintain position, refusing to show fear in the face of these cosmic judges. The Guardian's ethereal form still hovered nearby, observing their reactions with what seemed like curiosity. Your first trial begins, the Guardian announced, its voice resonating through their minds. Beneath the surface of this world lies an archive of knowledge left by the precursors. Within it exists information crucial to humanity's survival. You have 12 hours to locate and retrieve it. And the catch? Sarah asked, already knowing there had to be one. The archive's defense systems remain active. They will not distinguish between friend and foe. Additionally, The Harbingers will deploy their own forces to compete for the same knowledge. How you proceed will reveal much about your species' true nature. Dr. Paddle stepped forward, her analytical mind already racing. The surface structures we detected, they're not just buildings, are they? They're access points to this archive. The Guardian's form shimmered in what might have been approval. Correct. But choose wisely. Some paths lead to destruction rather than enlightenment. Sarah turned to her crew. Marcus, assemble a ground team. Dr. Patel, you're with us. Araya, maintain ship readiness and monitor those Harbinger vessels. If they so much as twitch, I want to know about it. The descent to the planet's surface was tense but uneventful. Their shuttle landed near the base of one of the massive geometric structures, its pristine surface reflecting the dying star's light like polished glass. The ground team, consisting of Sarah, Marcus, Aisha, and 3 security specialists, moved cautiously toward what appeared to be an entrance. Energy readings are off the charts, Aisha reported, studying her handheld scanner. The entire structure appears to be powered by something similar to zero-point energy. The technological advancement required for such a system is impossible by our standards. As they approached, lines of light began to trace across the structure's surface, forming intricate patterns that pulsed with inner fire. The entrance, a triangular portal twice the height of a human, slowly opened before them. Well, Marcus said, checking his weapon, they're certainly rolling out the welcome mat. Sarah activated her neural link with ARI. Any sign of movement from the Harbinger ships? Negative, Captain, the AI responded. However, I'm detecting multiple launches from their vessels. Small craft, likely transport ships similar to ours. They're heading for different structures across the planet's surface. So the race begins, Sarah muttered. Stay alert, everyone. We're not alone down here. The interior of the structure defied conventional architecture. Corridors shifted and reformed as they walked, responding to some unseen program or purpose. Holographic displays flickered to life around them, showing symbols and equations that seemed to morph and change when viewed directly. This is incredible, Aisha breathed, attempting to record everything she saw. These displays, they're not just showing information, they're adapting to our presence, changing based on our level of understanding. A deep rumbling suddenly shook the structure, and the corridors ahead began to reconfigure themselves. Through her neural link, Sarah heard ARI's urgent report. Captain, the Harbinger forces have breached their chosen structures. Energy readings are spiking across the entire complex. The trial has truly begun. The Guardian's voice echoed in their minds. Remember, how you proceed matters as much as whether you succeed. The team pressed forward, guided by Aisha's readings and their own instincts. They encountered several automated defense systems, energy barriers, gravity traps, and robotic sentinels that tested not just their ability to fight, but their ability to think, to solve problems, to work together. After what felt like hours of navigating the ever-changing maze, they reached what appeared to be a central chamber. The walls were covered in displays showing what looked like the history of countless civilizations, their rises, their falls, and most importantly, their encounters with the filter. Look at this, Aisha called out, studying one particular display. These civilizations, some of them found ways to work together, to share knowledge and resources. They survived. But others, let me guess, Marcus said grimly, the ones that tried to keep everything for themselves didn't make it. Before anyone could respond, a new sound echoed through the chamber. Footsteps. From another entrance, a group of figures emerged. They were clearly not human, their bodies covered in what looked like living armor that shifted and moved like the Guardian's form. Harbinger forces, Sarah said quietly, raising her weapon. But before either group could act, the chamber's displays all activated simultaneously, showing a single message in every known language. The Archive's knowledge cannot be taken by force. It must be earned through understanding. Cooperation is survival. Division is extinction. The Harbinger beings made no aggressive moves. Instead, their leader stepped forward and spoke in a voice that seemed to translate itself. "We stand at the same crossroads, humans. The filter approaches for all of us. The precursor's message is clear. We face it together, or we face extinction separately." Sarah lowered her weapon slowly, her mind racing. This was the true test, not just finding the archive, but understanding its purpose. The Guardian's words echoed in her memory. "How you proceed matters as much as whether you succeed." "You're right," she said, holstering her weapon completely. "The filter isn't just a test of technological advancement or military might. It's a test of whether we've evolved enough to work together, even with those we might consider enemies." The Harbinger leader's armor shifted, revealing more of their actual form. "You understand. This is why we were sent, not to compete, but to offer a choice. The Archive's knowledge is vast, but it can only be accessed by species willing to share it." As if responding to their understanding, the chamber's central platform began to rise, revealing a crystalline structure that pulsed with inner light. The Guardian's form appeared between the two groups. "You have passed the first trial," it announced, "not through force or speed, but through wisdom. The Archive's knowledge is now available to both your peoples. Use it wisely, for the greater trials are yet to come." Sarah looked at the Harbinger beings, then back at her team. The choice they made here would affect not just humanity's future, but perhaps the future of all spacefaring civilizations. The real question was, were they ready to trust their entire species' future to cooperation with an unknown race? The answer, she realized, would determine everything that came next. Operation Firewall. The knowledge contained within the precursor archive changed everything. In the 3 months since the first contact at the trial site, humanity, and the beings they now knew as the Concordat, had worked tirelessly to understand and implement the ancient technologies they'd discovered. The stellar Pathfinder, now docked at Earth's primary orbital station, had been transformed into something entirely new. Sarah stood in what had once been the bridge, marveling at how different everything looked. Concordat bioorganic technology merged seamlessly with human engineering, creating interfaces and systems that seemed to blur the line between living and machine. Through her neural implant, she could feel the ship's enhanced consciousness, no longer just ARIA, but something more evolved, more aware. "The integration is at 98% efficiency," announced Claire, the Concordat's chief engineer. Like all their kind, their armor shifted constantly, but Sarah had learned to read their expressions in the patterns of movement. Right now, they were pleased. "Your species' adaptability continues to impress us. Few races can merge their technology with ours so effectively." "Necessity breeds innovation," Sarah replied, watching as her crew worked alongside the Concordat engineers. "And with what's coming, we need every advantage we can get." The archive had revealed the true nature of the filter, a wave of cosmic energy that periodically swept through the galaxy, testing each civilization it encountered. Those who failed to prepare, who refused to evolve and cooperate, were simply erased from existence. According to the calculations, the wave would reach Earth's sector in less than 6 months. Dr. Patel's voice came through the ship's comm system. "Captain, you're needed in the research lab. We've made a breakthrough with the quantum shield technology." When Sarah arrived at the lab, she found Aisha working with a holographic display that showed complex equations and energy patterns. A Concordat scientist named Vexer stood nearby, their armor pulsing with excited patterns. "We've cracked it," Aisha said without preamble. "The precursor's shield technology. It doesn't just block the filter's energy, it redirects it. But here's the amazing part. We can use it to create a network, a firewall that could protect not just individual ships or planets, but entire sectors of space." "The challenge," Vexer added, their translated voice humming with energy, "is power. The energy requirements are astronomical. No single civilization could generate enough power to maintain such a network." "But together?" Sarah asked, already seeing where this was going. Together, we might have a chance, Aisha confirmed. Human fusion technology combined with Concorded's zero-point energy extraction could provide the baseline. If we can convince other species to join us. A sudden alarm interrupted their discussion. Marcus's voice came through the comm, tense but controlled. Captain, we're detecting multiple quantum ruptures in near-Earth space. Unknown vessels emerging. And they're not Concordat. Sarah rushed back to the bridge, arriving just in time to see the space around Earth tear open. The ships that emerged were unlike anything they'd seen before. Massive constructs that seemed to be made of pure darkness, drawing in light like mobile black holes. By the predecessors, Clar whispered, their armor turning a pale shade of blue. Fear, Sarah had learned. The Void Hunters, they were supposed to be extinct. I'm assuming that's not good news, Sarah said, already activating ship-wide alert protocols. Care to fill us in? They were, a species that rejected the precursor's guidance, Clar explained. They believed the only way to survive the filter was to consume the energy of other civilizations, to grow strong enough to face it alone. We thought they had been destroyed eons ago. The void ships moved into attack formation around Earth. A transmission cut through all communication channels, a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of space itself. Your resources will serve a greater purpose. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will take what we need slowly, painfully. Your choice. Sarah looked at her crew, at the humans and Concordat working side by side, at the technology they had built together. Contact the Earth Defense Council, she ordered. Tell them to begin evacuation protocols for all major cities. Then get me a direct line to every ship in the combined fleet. Once the connection was established, Sarah spoke with all the authority she could muster. This is Captain Chen. In the past 3 months, we've learned that survival depends on cooperation, on standing together against impossible odds. The Void Hunters represent everything we've fought against. The idea that strength comes from domination rather than unity. Well, I say we show them exactly how strong unity can make us. The response was immediate. Human and Concordat ships moved into defensive positions, their newly integrated technologies humming to life. The Stellar Pathfinder, now the most advanced vessel in either fleet, took point position. All ships, Sarah commanded, initiate Operation Firewall. Let's show these parasites what happens when they threaten our world. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries to come. Human tactical innovation, combined with Concordat biological technology, created strategies the Void Hunters had never encountered. Ships merged and separated in impossible ways, energy weapons synchronized with quantum shields to create devastating attack patterns. But the Void Hunters were ancient and powerful. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more seemed to emerge from the quantum ruptures. The battle seemed to be reaching a stalemate when Aisha's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, the shield network, if we can modify it to channel the Void Hunters' own energy against them, it would create a feedback loop, Clar finished, their armor pulsing with excitement. But the power requirements would be enormous. We'd be risking every ship in the fleet. Sarah watched as another Earth defense platform fell to the Void ships' attacks. The choice was clear. Do it. All ships, divert power to the shield network. Let's end this. As the fleet executed her orders, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would this victory be enough, or was it just another test before the real trial began? The filter was still coming, and they needed to be ready. The turning point. The battle against the Void Hunters had left its scars. Orbital debris from destroyed ships formed a new ring around Earth, while the modified shield network hummed with residual energy from the massive feedback pulse that had finally driven the ancient predators back into the quantum void. But there was no time to celebrate their victory. The filter approached, and their defenses were in shambles. In the war room of Earth's primary orbital station, Sarah studied the holographic display showing the filter's approach. The cosmic wave of energy was now visible to their enhanced sensors, a wall of reality-warping force that consumed everything in its path. 2 months, Asia announced to the assembled human and Concordat leaders. That's how long we have before the filter reaches our solar system. The good news is, the battle with the Void Hunters taught us something crucial about energy manipulation. Klar, their armor now bearing the battle scars of their encounter with the Void ships, stepped forward. The bad news is that our victory came at a cost. Half our fleet is destroyed, and the shield network was never meant to channel that kind of power. The damage to the system is extensive. Then we adapt, Sarah said firmly. The archive showed us other civilizations that faced the filter. Some survived, some didn't. What was the difference? Innovation. A new voice answered. The Guardian's form materialized in the center of the room, causing several guards to raise their weapons before realizing who it was. Those who survived did not merely implement the Precursor's technology. They improved upon it. They found new ways to use old tools. Sarah turned to the ethereal being. You've been quiet since the Void Hunters attacked. Why show yourself now? Because you have reached the critical moment. The battle you faced was not random. The Void Hunters were drawn here by the same force that drives the filter. The universe's need to test, to challenge, to force evolution or extinction. Your response to their attack proved something vital about your species. And what's that? Marcus asked, his hand unconsciously touching the new scar that ran down his face, a souvenir from the recent battle. That humanity, when faced with destruction, chooses to stand and fight not just for itself, but for others. The Void Hunters expected you to abandon the Concordat, to save yourselves. Instead, you risked everything to protect both species. Aisha's eyes suddenly widened as she studied the holographic display. Captain, look at this. The energy pattern from our modified shield network. It's similar to the filter's wave structure. What if we're thinking about this all wrong? What if the filter isn't just a test to survive, but a test to transcend? The Guardian's form brightened. Now you begin to understand. The Precursors did not build the archive to help civilizations hide from the filter. They built it to help them evolve beyond it. Sarah moved to the display, studying the complex energy patterns. The Void Hunters tried to survive by consuming others' energy. We survived by sharing it, by working together. That's the key, isn't it? The filter isn't just testing our technology. It's testing our capacity to grow, to change, to become something more than we are. Precisely, the Guardian confirmed. And now you face your greatest challenge. The shield network you created, combined with the knowledge from the archive, offers a possibility that even the Precursors never attempted. Klar moved closer to the display, their armor pulsing with increasing excitement as they understood what Sarah and the Guardian were suggesting. We could use the filter's own energy to power a transformation, not just protecting our civilizations, but advancing them to a new stage of evolution. The risks would be astronomical, Marcus warned. One miscalculation, and we wouldn't just fail to stop the filter. We'd be accelerating our own destruction. Sarah looked around the room at the assembled leaders of both species. We've already proven that together we're stronger than apart. The Void Hunters thought they could survive through domination, but we proved that cooperation and trust are more powerful. Now we have a chance to take that lesson to its ultimate conclusion. The Guardian's form began to fade. The choice, as always, is yours. But remember, the filter comes whether you are ready or not. The only question is whether you will face it as you are, or attempt to become something more. As the ethereal being vanished, Sarah turned to Aisha. How quickly can you modify the shield network designs? With the Concordat's help, maybe a month. But Captain, what we're attempting, it's never been done before. We'd be rewriting the laws of physics, of evolution itself. Then it's a good thing we have the two most innovative species in the galaxy working on it, Sarah replied with a grim smile. Humanity has always excelled at doing the impossible, and the Concordat has proven to be just as adaptable. Together, we're not just going to survive the filter, we're going to change it. Clar's armor shifted to a deep gold color. Determination. Sarah had learned. The void ships taught us that our combined technology is more powerful than we imagined. If we can harness that potential, channel it through the entire shield network, we could create a cascading effect. Aisha finished, her fingers flying over the holographic controls. Use the filter's approach to power our own transformation. But we'd need every ship, every station, every piece of technology we have working in perfect synchronization. Sarah looked out the station's window at Earth below, thinking of everything they had to lose, and everything they might become. Then we better get started. When the filter arrives, we'll be ready, not just to survive it, but to transcend it. As the assembled leaders broke into action groups, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if they were about to make history, or if they were about to make the biggest mistake in the history of both their species. The next month would determine not just their fate, but perhaps the fate of every civilization that would face the filter in the future. Humanity's gambit. The filter arrived ahead of schedule. Sarah stood on the bridge of the stellar Pathfinder, watching as reality itself seemed to bend and twist at the edge of the solar system. The cosmic wave of energy stretched as far as their sensors could detect, a wall of transformation or destruction that would reach Earth in less than 6 hours. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Shield network is at 97% capacity," Marcus reported from his station. "All remaining ships are in position. The Concordat fleet is synchronized with ours." Aisha's voice came through the comm from the primary research station, where she and a team of human and Concordat scientists had worked tirelessly to modify the shield network. "The energy collectors are ready, Captain. If our calculations are correct, we should be able to channel the filter's power through the entire network. But we still don't know exactly what will happen." Sarah finished. "How's the evacuation proceeding?" "All major population centers have been moved to the designated shelter zones," Marcus answered. "The shield bunkers are at maximum capacity. Everyone else is as ready as they'll ever be." Through her neural link, Sarah felt the ship's enhanced consciousness, the merged intelligence of ARIA and Concordat biotechnology, processing countless calculations per second. The entire fleet had been upgraded with similar systems, allowing for unprecedented coordination between vessels. "Captain," Clar's voice came through the comm, their tone urgent. "We're detecting quantum disturbances similar to the Void Hunter signatures. They're coming back." Sarah clenched her jaw. Of course they are. They wouldn't want to miss the show. She opened a channel to all ships. "This is Captain Chen. The Void Hunters are returning, likely hoping to take advantage of the chaos when the filter hits. But we're ready for them this time. Remember your training. Remember what we fought for. Remember that together, we've already proven we can beat them." The void ships emerged from quantum space like tears in reality, their dark forms a stark contrast to the approaching wall of energy that was the filter. But this time, the combined fleet was prepared. "All ships, execute Formation Omega," Sarah commanded. "Channel all attacks through the shield network. Let's show them how much we've learned." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human or Concordat history. Ships moved in perfect synchronization, their weapons and shields working in harmony to create devastating attack patterns. The Void Hunters, expecting to find weakened prey, instead found themselves facing an opponent that had evolved beyond their understanding. But they weren't the real threat. As the battle raged, the filter continued its inexorable approach. 4 hours until contact, Araya announced through the neural link. "Shield network is holding at 95%. Despite battle damage." Sarah watched as another void ship imploded under the combined assault of human and Concordat weapons. "Aisha, is the transformation matrix ready?" "As ready as it's going to be," came the response. "But Captain, the energy readings from the filter. They're higher than our simulations predicted. If we go through with this, there's no guarantee any of us will survive, let alone transform in the way we hope." The Void Hunters feared this moment. Clar added, their ship moving into position alongside the Pathfinder. Perhaps that's why they returned. They know that what we're attempting could change everything. Not just for us, but for all species that face the filter. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Through her neural link, she could sense every ship in the fleet, every crew member, human and concordat alike, all connected through the enhanced consciousness they now shared. They were no longer just allies. They had become something more, something new. The Guardian told us that survival wasn't enough, she said, opening the channel to all ships once more. The filter isn't just a test of our technology or our strength. It's a test of our ability to evolve, to transcend our limitations. The Void Hunters tried to do it through dominance and failed. We're going to do it through unity. The filter's approach had become visible to the naked eye now, a wall of shifting energy that defied description. The Void ships, perhaps sensing what was about to happen, began to retreat back into quantum space. All ships, move into final position. Sarah ordered. Divert all power to the transformation matrix. We're not running from this. We're not hiding from it. We're going to meet it head-on and become something new. Through the fleet-wide neural link, she could feel the determination, the fear, the hope of every crew member. They had come so far together, evolved so much already. Now it was time for the final step. The filter hit the outer edges of the shield network, and for a moment, it seemed as though reality itself held its breath. Then, everything changed. The network didn't just channel the filter's energy. It resonated with it, creating patterns of light and power that had never existed before. The combined consciousness of the fleet expanded, merged, transformed. Sarah felt her awareness stretch beyond the confines of her physical form, beyond the ship, beyond the limits of what she had thought possible. Through the neural link, she heard Aisha's voice, filled with wonder. It's working. The transformation, it's not just changing our technology, it's changing us. The filter's energy continued to flow through the network, but instead of destruction, it brought transformation. The ships, the crews, even space itself seemed to shift and evolve. The barrier between organic and mechanical, between individual and collective, between what was and what could be, began to dissolve. In that moment of transformation, Sarah understood what the precursors had really been preparing them for. The filter wasn't an obstacle to overcome. It was a doorway to the next stage of evolution. And together, humanity and the Concordat had found the key. When the energy wave finally passed, the solar system had changed. The fleet had changed. They had all changed. But they had survived. And more than that, they had transcended. The Guardian appeared one final time, its form now somehow more solid, more real. You have done what even the precursors only dreamed of. You faced the filter not with fear, but with hope. Not with the desire to merely survive, but with the courage to become something more. The age of separation is over. The age of unity begins. Sarah looked out at Earth below, at the transformed fleet around her, at the new form of existence they had achieved. They had not just survived the filter, they had changed it, and in doing so, had changed the future for all species that would face it. So, Marcus's voice came through the collective consciousness they now shared. What do we do next? Sarah smiled, feeling the infinite possibilities that stretched out before them. We do what humanity has always done. We explore. We learn. We grow. But this time, we do it together. The stellar Pathfinder, now more than just a ship, moved forward into the changed universe, leading the way into a future that no one could have imagined. The filter had come to test them, and humanity, true to its nature, had not just passed the test. They had rewritten the rules entirely. In the vast expanse of space, a new chapter in the story of consciousness had begun, and it was just the beginning.